Goodbye Horses by Q Lazarus. People know that one from Silence of the Lambs. Kind of a little funky beat there, so I figured I'd use that to start today's episode of Dylanknows. Number 288, Deforest Kelly Face. Just basically, I thought that was funny. Someone posted a meme of, someone says something stupid when you give them Deforest Kelly Face. It's one of these type of things that Deforest Kelly from Star Trek used to have. So I thought it'd make a good, interesting title. Well, the reason why I'm a little late today, usually I'm ahead of the curve, but when I went into YouTube today, they have a new thing called YouTube Studio. It's in beta format right now. It's like, okay, I'll check it out, see what it is like. So I went in, and when I tried to get to the YouTube page, it said, cannot find this page. So I was like, okay, so what I'm going to do? So I had to look on the new page that they had created since Google Plus no longer exists. And I found something that said old school creator thing, and went on that. They're like, are you sure you want to do that? I was like, yes, I do, because I have this important show I got to do, and I don't have time to figure out why everything is wrong. But that's besides the point. That's why I'm late. I'm going to try to move this along quickly because I'm really tired. Had a busy day today. My wife and daughter are camping. My daughter, as I mentioned before in the show, has joined the Scouts of America. Since the Boy Scouts have now opened it up for girls to come in and be part of the Scouts. So she's on her first camping trip with the Scouts. There's about 9 to 10 girls in her group, and they keep getting bigger and bigger, so it's good for that. Also, here's my new Hufflepuff Quidditch shirt. Anyway, so they're in D.C., Washington, D.C., camping right now. So I'm here home alone with Noah, and this is what the day was like. We had to go to the library because the library books were due. Got some new books out, and then for both my daughter and my son. Then we had to get Noah his haircut. Now, we usually go to a place called Cartoon Cuts at White Marsh, which is about a half hour away from the house. But today is also Community Day, and Community Day for Pokemon Go starts at 3 o'clock, and I wanted to be here for it to start. So by the time we got on the road from the library, it was like 12:30. I was like, why don't we try to go someplace closer? There was a haircut place I used a little bit further up in Westminster. It's only about 10 minutes away, and I need to get a haircut because my hair was a mess. So we went there, and he's like, okay, we'll go there. We went there, and we walked in. It was busy, and they're like, what can we do to help? I said, me and him would like haircuts. And he said, okay, it won't be till 2:30. That was at that time about 2 hours away. I was like, no, that's not going to work for me because I wanted to get ready for Community Day. So I was like, okay, we'll drive out to White Marsh. So drove out to White Marsh. It took 25 minutes to 30, which was good. Got his haircut. Nobody else was there, luckily. So he went and got his haircut. But then the woman just took a really, really long time with getting his haircut. But it looks good. He got it nice and short, but they don't really do grown-ups. So I was like, okay, we'll just move on. And then we got something to eat real quick at the food court, and then drove back home. And by the time we got home, it was 2:45. So then at that point, we just got our stuff prepped, got our phones ready, and we went out and we did Pokemon Go's Community Day from 3 to 6 in Reisterstown. So we did that, and then after 6 o'clock, we went to Bill Bateman's for dinner. And then on the way back, saw that there was a bag from Amazon. I wasn't expecting the bag to be here till Tuesday, but it showed up early. It was a shirt I wanted to get. We opened up the shirt. It was the completely wrong style and size. It was a youth small shirt with a bunch of kids holding flags, nowhere close to a 2XL grown-up shirt with the picture of Flurkin from Captain Marvel saying, bring me Thanos, which I really, really wanted. So I complained, and they said they would just, put the money back into my account, but then I could keep the shirt, but it's useless. Neither of my kids want it. And now I'm thinking I want the Bring Me Thanos shirt, but now I'm thinking, what if it's screwed up again? So I was like, maybe I'll wait. So we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll order it again tomorrow. I don't know. So then we got the shower. Noah got his shower, read him his book, and came down here to the YouTube thing. So here we are, and that's my story. So We got a lot of interesting stuff to cover today. Licking toilets is one right off the top of my head. Cannabis jelly beans. Whole bunch of new types of sneakers. IKEA has something just in time for Easter. A high school in New Jersey did one of the coolest plays ever. Another human having sex with animals story. And I think it's the one I have. And then a whole lot of people offering money to do specific jobs. So we're going to cover a bunch of those. Animal ghosts. Summer items. Movie trailers, TV trailers, stuff like that. All kinds of interesting things. So let us get started. So spring is sprung. First day of spring was Wednesday, but it didn't really feel like it that much because we got wind and a nor'easter came through on Thursday, dumped about 3 inches of rain on us. And then Friday, a cold snap happened and we got a snow squall that blew through real quick. And then it's just been kind of brutally cold last couple of days. It's supposed to be 60 tomorrow, so hopefully that'll start getting some spring weather. But here we are getting close to the end of March and getting close to April, and it's still very, very chilly and winter-like. So we need to get through this because I'm done with that and move on to spring weather. So hopefully that'll be coming up. Also that same day, March 20th, Fox and Disney finally, after years it seems like, discussing this, have finalized the merger. So Fox is now in the Disney fold. Disney now owns a whole bunch of new things, including a bunch of new characters from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, including the X-Men. Has rights to the X-Men now, Fantastic Four, Deadpool. They also own the Alien movies, and they own The Simpsons now, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Now, that all sounds great and all, but as soon as the merger went through, drastic cuts happened. Fox 2000 was shuttered, which means that thousands of people lost their jobs, and a niche little film distributor is no longer in existence, which is kind of sucky. A whole bunch of other people lost their jobs. So while it's expected in a merger like that, and the excitement of being able to see a very well done X-Men movie and Fantastic Four movie might have pushed what really doesn't seem good about this. Regardless, it's done. It's over. There's nothing no one can do about it. It's done. Total disaster. The end, period. So I'm just really, really thirsty. Mars has earthquakes. One of the landers that landed on Mars, they put a earthquake tester down into the ground. My mind is still not working right. Predictor, whatever you want to call it. What is it? Not the Geiger scale, the Richter scale, like a Richter scale thing. And they discovered that another planet has earthquakes like Earth does. So they have plates that move just like Earth does as well. So that's kind of an interesting scientific fact to find out. So that's pretty cool. Mexicans are stealing the wall supplies and put them around their homes for safety, kind of way to stick it to that loser in the White House right now. Also, the Mueller report is done and it's being looked at, and hopefully that'll cause some changes as well to our government, because we drastically need some changes very quickly. And that's going to turn off a whole bunch of people who are going to read that and say, F you, man, and give me a thumbs down, and then they're going to leave. But that's how I feel. Supernatural, the TV show you thought would never end, is going to end after next season, season 15, which is a lot for a TV series. To go 15 seasons is incredible. I think one of the last ones to do that was ER, but Supernatural will be finished. And who expected a show like Supernatural to go 15 seasons? But it did. 2004 was when it first came out. So it's been going on as long as I've lived in this house. So interesting. I mean, they're in season 14 now. Season 15 will be their last one next season. The CW is also canceling Arrow. and I think Legends of Tomorrow after next year, because you've got Crisis coming up after next year. So I think that's going to be a huge thing, because those shows are getting canceled by the CW. The ratings are down on Flash, Supergirl, and Black Lightning, so they might be canceled as well. So you figure, this whole Crisis on Infinite Earth things might actually be a bit more serious than you think it is. So that's kind of an interesting little thing we'll take a look at. But the CW seems to be going through some changes now, and we'll see what happens on the other side. A University of Washington surgeon performed the first gorilla surgery. Now, I didn't even know about this story, but a friend of mine from college, Pat Gibbs, who actually works for the University of Washington, knows the guy who did this surgery. So an actual surgeon doctor did surgery on a gorilla, and that's kind of amazing and very interesting about that. Today was, as I talked about, Community Day. It was Trico for the Pokemon. I got 9 shinies. Noah got 3. I ran Noelle's account. She got 4. Dawn ran hers in Washington. She got 8. It was definitely different. It was me and Noah, and we just hung around Reisterstown and did Main Street, and then went down to Hannah Moore Park and Boost Mobile, and then back up to Sacred Heart, and then over to Glendon, and then we went to Mitchell's Park, and then we went to Weiss Markets, and that was it. So got some good stuff. Had to look through it again. There's another event happening next Saturday, the Lotad weather event, where you spin the Pokestops and you have research you have to do. And once you do that, you'll be able to get a Lotad, possibly a shiny as well. So we're going to be doing that probably next weekend as well. It also is Hellboy Day, which I was a little bit disappointed in my comic book store, because I read their ad. They said you get the comic with purchase. I didn't think that's how it worked. I thought you got it for free regardless of if you were supposed to have purchase or not. I know that's how Free Comic Book Day works, and I also know that in the old days, in their old building, they used to let everybody get as many free comic books as they want, and then they've been limiting it last couple of years, so I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe it's causing them money. But Hellboy Day, it wasn't. I love Hellboy. I love Mike Mignola and all that stuff, but the book they were offering was the first issue ever of Hellboy, which I've read a million times. And it wasn't anything different than the fact that you had to buy something at my local comic book store to get it. Just sort of made me go, I'm just going to skip that. So, shame on, well, not shame on that, but I mean, it's just, they can do whatever they want to, I guess. But, oh well. Something called Good Boy Dog Beer is now available for dogs to drink beer with their owners. I don't know. I doubt if it's alcoholic, because that would kill the dogs probably. But hey, dog beer is a thing now. Speaking of beer, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Supreme Court Justice, has gotten her own beer. So that is pretty cool as well. It's named after her, and it's her own beer. So good on that. A Texas man brings a steer, which is a giant bull type thing, to a local Petco to test their all leashed pets are welcome thing that they do. So this guy, I guess, kind of being a jerk about things, said, I'm going to see if this is all true. And he brings this giant, big bull thing with giant horns to walk through the narrow aisles of Petco to see if they would say anything to him. So he'd say, oh, look at that. It's leashed, though. What are you doing? But he was thwarted because Petco's like, yeah, it's fine. It's cool. Whatever you want to do, man. So I don't know if I trusted, why would a guy try to do that just to make Petco look like a fool? What do you expect? I mean, if they turned it down, what were we going to do? Oh, it was on a leash, though. What's all that about? It's a giant bull. And the more and more I thought about this story, the more and more it makes me a little angry about this guy, because it seemed like he was kind of being a jerk to Petco. And luckily, Petco turned the other cheek and said, hey, man, it's cool. Don't worry about it. Bring your giant steer in. It's fine. Just seemed like a kind of a dumb thing for the guy to try to prove himself or whatever. I don't know. I just didn't like that. Mama June from, what was that show that was popular a while back about the little girl who was a beauty queen type thing? Well, regardless, Mama June has been charged with criminal cocaine, with possession of cocaine, which is arrested. She's got 1 year in jail. So hey, whatever. keep being the spotlight all you want. Now, Bumblebee came out last Christmas, I believe, and it comes out on DVD on Tuesday. And looking at it on commercials and trailers, I thought this is how a Transformers movie should be. And it was fantastic. It didn't have the Michael Bay-ishness to it, and I enjoyed it. I thought, oh, this is really, really cool. And then I see the sequel will have more Bayhem in it, which means it's going to be more like a Michael Bay movie. I was like, oh my God, really? You're ruining Transformers again because it didn't make as much money as Michael Bay's movies? Come on, man. What in the world is that? Oh, yeah. Some guy got a skull infection from using cotton swabs. I can't even imagine what that might be and what that might feel like, but I couldn't even imagine a skull infection. And using, how, I don't know. I don't know. I'm at a loss. It just seems like a weird, I don't know. Homeless boy wins the New York State Chess Championship. It's always good to have, news stories that are good and hopeful and stuff like that. A boy who has nothing is smart enough to take down everybody and win the state championship. So good on that. And hopefully, that's going to be bigger and brighter things for the guy. And him being homeless is not going to be something that'll keep him down, but will, push him further and make him do better. So congratulations. Due to a massive gravity burst type thing, whatever, from the sun, supposedly the Aurora Borealis are going to be able to be seen as far south as this place here in Baltimore, Reisterstown. This evening is the only time you'll be able to, but you'll be able to see it from this point up. So anybody from the East Coast up, and I guess it covers the entire United States down to this certain point from the United States, from Maryland up. So everything along the line of Maryland that goes through the country and goes up, you might go outside, take a look. Maybe I'll take a look after the show to see if I see anything. I don't think it's going to happen because I think it's supposedly really low in the horizon and you might not be able to see it. And plus I still have, I don't have a clear dark patches around here. We don't have as much light as some other places, but we still have light around here. So we'll see. I'll take a look, and I doubt I'll see anything, but hey, give it a chance, go outside and you might be able to find something. Scientists claim that keeping babies barefoot longer could increase their intelligence. Now, I don't understand how that would work either. I mean, are their barefoot feet, are they sucking up knowledge from the ground that makes them smarter? So you keep them barefoot longer. That's why these studies, some of them just don't make any sense to me. And this one doesn't make any sense to me. So, what are you going to do? All right. We had a whole bunch of trailers come out this week. First up, the Toy Story 4 trailer came out, the full trailer. Get a good general idea of what the story is about. It's a typical, new toy is introduced. But instead, what happens is it doesn't believe it's a toy, so it leaves. And so Woody goes to try to find it, discovers his old love. Bo Peep is now a cynical freedom fighter toy who's saying that we don't need kids to play with us. We have tons of kids that can play with us. We don't need all this. So she's trying to convince Woody not to go back to the girl that's been his keeper for a while. And then the other toys want to go save him. So we'll see what happens. It looks interesting. Toy Story. It's Toy Story. It's the last one supposedly, and it should be good. And we'll see what happens. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood trailer also came out this week. Now, you all out there who've watched the show before know my take on Quentin Tarantino. I believe he's a hugely overrated director. I mean, his movies are entertaining in some shape or form. Some of them are. Some of them are way overrated and way hyped. And some are, some are still pretty good. And, he's a fairly good writer, has a specific cadence he uses. But a lot of the stuff that he does is pretty much the same. And he just is on the excessive violence, excessive use of the N-word and cursing and just all kinds of uber violence, stuff like that. So that gets kind of boring after a while. But this one movie he's got coming out this summer, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, actually seems intriguing to me after watching the trailer. It seems like something that might be a good film to check out this summer. Has Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Margot Robbie in it. It takes place in Hollywood in the 1960s. Bruce Lee, an actor playing Bruce Lee, is going to be in that as well. So we saw some of that in there. And DiCaprio and Brad Pitt are actors or stunt people or something like that. And Margot Robbie is the woman who gets killed by Charles Manson, the actress who gets killed by Charles Manson. And Charles Manson is going to play a bit in the movie as well. So we'll see what happens. It looks interesting and intriguing. I think it was supposed to star Burt Reynolds at one point too before he passed away. He didn't get a chance to film his role before he passed away. So so it looks good actually. So, as I said, I don't hate all of his stuff. I think he's vastly overrated. But this film looks intriguing enough that I might take a look at it. But one trailer that caught me way, way off guard, and I watched it multiple times because I loved it so much. And I didn't even know about this trailer till it happened to pop up on a YouTube ad. And I was like, let me just see what it looks like, because it hit me with a really good tagline. The basic premise is it involves a young man who looks to be like Muslim or Middle Eastern, who is a musician. He's not a very good musician. But he has a school teacher girlfriend who dotes on him. And he's just, doing his thing, but, he's sort of aimless in life and doesn't know what's going on. So, he's pretty much on the verge of wanting to give up his music, even though that's like his lifeblood. And one night he's driving back from somewhere, we don't know because the trailer doesn't really tell you where it is, when all the lights in the world go off and he hits a car. When he wakes up in hospital a few days later, everyone's so happy he's good and healthy and safe again. And so in order to, I guess maybe his prize guitar got destroyed or whatever in the car wreck. So his girlfriend buys him a new guitar. So he tests it out by playing the Beatles song Yesterday. Yesterday's all my troubles seem so far away. And he's playing the guitar, and everybody listening to it, it was like this look of amazement on their faces. And then once he finishes it, his girlfriend's like, "When did you write that song?" He's like, "I didn't write that song. Paul McCartney did." And they're like, "Who?" I said, "Paul McCartney, the Beatles." "The who?" And he's like, "Oh." And so he goes and he investigates. The Beatles no longer exist in this world. They had never existed. They never released any of their albums in the 60s. None of their songs have been released. Nobody knew who they were. There was nothing about them. So he's the only one who remembers the Beatles. So what he starts doing is he starts playing Beatles songs and taking credit for them, and he becomes as big as the Beatles did. And so he's got he's not trying. He's got his issues with, should I do this or shouldn't I do this? But the movie shows that he is doing it. So it's directed by Danny Boyle, and it's written by, I guess, one of the writers of Love Actually. So if not, I don't know if there was only one writer, but I think it looks really funny. It looks really neat, and it's got a really good Beatles soundtrack to it. It looks one of these films that's going to sort of sneak up on you and bite you. It's not going to make a lot of money, but it might be really entertaining and fun. So that movie's called Yesterday. So if you want to check, go to YouTube, go check the search engine, type in Yesterday trailer, and check it out. It's well worth it. Finally, not movie related, but Netflix released their Stranger Things 3 trailer to get a general idea of what we're going to get with Stranger Things, just a little taste of it. You get a little bit of comedy. It looks like there's going to be a lot of, growing pains and more of a, young adults in love type of story. It doesn't look like it's going to be quite, the trailer doesn't look like it's building up to what you expect from a Stranger Things show. It looks more like it's going to be a coming of age show as the kids are getting older, obviously, and their hormones are starting to hit and so on and so forth. So things are starting to change for them. But then it just jumps into a boom, a bunch of different things that shows that this is still Stranger Things, and culminates in the appearance of a giant sludge type of monster that screams at them. So you get a picture of all your favorite characters, and it's great. So they'll probably release another one because it doesn't come out to July 4th. So they'll probably release another one down the line to show maybe some more of the creepy stuff. But you get a general idea of that. But then they also announced this week that Stranger Things 3 will also be getting its own Nintendo Switch video game, which my daughter is enamored of. So we have this Nintendo Switch. So when that comes out, also the same day that the show gets dropped on Netflix, we'll pick that game up also, and we'll play that, and it'll be awesome. So hooray for that. I used to be an actor, and I used to do plays, and this story just made me laugh. A play was canceled after an actor breaks character to fight an audience member. The audience member was being disruptive and rude and stuff like that, and the actor had had enough, so he stepped out of character and got into a verbal skirmish with them, and then the guy wasn't backing down, so the actor jumps off the stage and starts fighting him. It was at a play, a version of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, which is already big charged play anyway, and so it just was built up. But I thought it was funny that an actor in the middle of the play just jumps out into the audience and tries to beat somebody up. There have been other stories out there where some famous actors have stopped their performance when people were on their phones or their cell phone was ringing, and he yelled at them and admonished them about that. So breaking character doesn't really work well in theater, but sometimes you just got to do it, I guess. Speaking of theater, I just saw this right before I came here onto the show. There's a high school in New Jersey. And, high schools, they do plays all the time. My high school, we did a regular play in the fall, winter, and then a musical in the spring. So we did 2 plays. I think some do similar stuff as well. Franklin High School up here, I think they did a play in the winter that was a musical from what I remember. But the play they're doing now is based on Bugsy Malone, which is like, okay, that's kind of an interesting choice for a high school play. But hey, go for it. High schools have a chance to pick and choose what other plays they want to do. Well, this took the cake because the sets and the costumes were phenomenal. And just the idea that a high school play in New Jersey, a high school in New Jersey does this as their play for the year. They did their version of a theatrical version, a stage version of the movie Alien. And there were some pictures from it, and they had a really realistic, nice-looking alien costume. I'm assuming an actor put that on and was running around after the other actors. The other actors also, there were pictures of them in their spacesuit type of things that was similar to what happened in Alien. And then there was also a picture of a prop of one of the dome things where the face huggers were. And that's like, my God, that is like the most brilliant idea ever. And I wish more high schools could get the right to do that. It's amazing. It's really just amazing. Switching gears slightly, black mold has been discovered that if you have black mold in your house, it can cause hallucinations, threatening hallucinations of ghosts and demons. So some people who claim to see ghosts or demons in their house may actually be under the influence of black mold. So if you start seeming like you're seeing demonic figures or crazy ghosts or whatever, check your house first to see if there's black mold. And if there is, get that stuff cleaned up because that can hurt you badly. If there is no black mold, then get yourself an exorcist or a ghostbuster and get them out of the house. Baseball starts for the Orioles in five. Well, actually, I think for everybody in 5 days. Well, technically, now going to be 4 days tomorrow, but 5 days as of today, Saturday, the 23rd of March. 5 days for baseball to start. Last year, the Philadelphia Phillies were one of the teams that looked like they were going to, make a run in the playoffs, and then they had a swan dive in September where their their team play and their record just stank. Well, we discovered why. It wasn't because the players were, not getting worse or getting tired. They were staying up late playing Fortnite. So I think that's kind of funny. Crazy people time. Naked man climbs roof, steals car, leads police on a chase through the neighborhood on foot. Also, I guess he stole a car, stopped it, then got out of the car, and then ran through neighborhood naked while the cops chased him. Just be kind of a unique thing to see a naked guy running down the street and then a bunch of police officers chasing after him. Probably interesting. I'm about to gross you out, but then I'm going to make you think a little bit. It's after 10 o'clock, so I can get a little bit about this. You might have seen this viral video that came out this week as well, but apparently this woman made a video in an airplane, and apparently she's a sex worker. Now, I didn't know that. That's what the article said. But she licked an airplane toilet. Now, right now, I know you can feel the vomit starting to rise into your throat. It's like, oh my God, that's disgusting. How could somebody lick a toilet? It got me thinking, though, and this is the weird things I think about in the shower. But when I was, because what I do is I did the way I do my schedule pretty much is if I'm doing a show on Saturday, if we have nothing going on in the morning, I go through all the stuff that I saved on Facebook and I write it down in my book, and then I take my shower and then I move on with the day and then I do the show. I check periodically during the day to see if any other stories popped up, and then I try to get it as close to current as I can, i.e. the Alien high school play story was something that I just read about an hour ago. So maybe 2 hours ago, since an hour ago I was still reading to Noah. But after I wrote that down and I was feeling the urge to vomit as well, I started thinking about it in the shower. This woman is a sex worker. Okay, and I'm about to gross people out a little bit because I'm not saying everybody does this, but particularly a sex worker probably does this regularly. Not licking toilets, but remember, you got to think about, why is licking toilets making you sick? Well, because people go to the bathroom there, they pee there, they poop there, they vomit there, whatever. Now, vomit's the only thing that this doesn't fit into, so we're just going to focus on the pee and the poop. So when you think of toilets, obviously the first thing you think about is that's where you go to the bathroom. And hearing this woman licking toilets just makes you want to vomit. But think about it this way. She's a sex worker, so her job is to make her customers feel as sexually satisfied as they want to be. And in some cases, let's face facts. And as I said, I'm going to get a little blue here. So this might be a little not safe for work, or if there's kids watching, earmuffs for a little bit. Sex workers give blowjobs. They lick dicks. They suck dicks. Let's just face it. That's one of the things that they do. Dicks shoot out pee. So if you've gone pee and then you go and find this woman, you still might have some drips thing around there. And when she starts sucking on you and licking you, she's licking up your pee. Okay. Now, she's also probably, as a sex worker, she will probably swing both ways. So if there's women, she's going to go down and she's going to eat your pussy. And doing that, remember, that's where pee comes from, that general area as well. So again, not a big deal because she's already down there already. And again, there might be some residue or whatever from pee down there as well. The newest thing, and I don't understand this because this makes me sick, but the newest thing is also people like getting their assholes licked also. Your assholes is where your poop comes out of. So again, this sex worker probably has licked assholes that have crusty poop on it, has licked dicks with pee on it, and have licked pussies with pee on it as well. So then that got me thinking, it's like, well, then maybe it's not such a big deal, her licking a toilet, because any residue, spray, whatever, she's had in her mouth before. I don't know, weird things you think about like that. So yes, I'm sorry I got a little blue there, but I figured in order to talk about what I needed to make my case about this, I had to say what I said. Man arrested for killing. Oh, I'm sorry, not killing. Man was arrested for keeping an 86-inch flat screen TV that was mailed to him by accident. Now, I don't know. I guess similar to this Amazon issue I have where they mailed me this completely different shirt than I was expecting, and then they told me to keep it. That's a different thing. They said, "Go ahead and keep it. We'll give you your money back." It's like a $19. Mine was like a $19 T-shirt. So, but the 86-inch flat screen TV is probably a lot more, and they probably wouldn't ask for it back. So, I don't know if it's one of those things where they just delivered it to him. And he's like, "What the heck is this?" And then he discovers the TV is like, "Oh, okay. I'm just going to go ahead and keep it and put it up on the wall and whatever. Someone must have given it to me." And it makes sense. Someone must have given it to me. I don't know. Maybe someone gave it to me as a gift. There's no card or whatever, but hey, maybe they want to be, keep it as a surprise. It's not his fault. Eventually, when they find out that it was a mistake, it's not his fault that they delivered the TV wrong. And there was nothing in there that said, "Hey, we delivered your TV wrong." I don't know how it happened. Eventually, they found him and told him, "You got to give the TV back." And he's like, "No, it was delivered to me. It's my TV." So I don't know. I guess there's rules and laws against that, but I don't know. It just seems kind of interesting. A civilian ejected from a French fighter jet during takeoff. So I guess a French fighter jet was allowing civilians into their airplanes. They had a pilot in there with them, and they could give the civilian a chance to fly around. But hopefully they were saying, "Don't touch this, don't do that, don't do that," and they either did it deliberately or by accident, and they were ejected from the airplane. I guess they survived, but that's still just kind of an interesting story. Um, one of the most interesting games out there is the board game Clue. There was a great movie in 1985 with Tim Curry and Christopher Lloyd and Leslie Ann Warren and a whole bunch of other actors, Martin Mull, who was in there. It's a great movie. And the board game itself is entertaining as well. Well, Cleveland has stepped up their game by doing a giant outdoor Clue game. So you have real people playing, I guess, portraying characters in Clue, and you have to solve the murder. Now, I don't know if it's in a specific area and you are doing it similar as you do the board game, but the fact that there is something out there called a giant outdoor Clue game is kind of fascinating and kind of cool, and is worth a look at. Man, I'm almost an hour in. I haven't even gone through the first page yet. When the Queen dies, there's going to be some crazy things that are happening in England. They've never experienced, most people haven't experienced the Queen dying because she's been Queen now for 50, 60 some years now. But the book states that when the Queen does die, there will be 12 days of mourning, which means everything shuts down for 12 days in England. I guess that means work, businesses, the stock market, banks, shops, whatever. Well, they also have now added comedy TV shows to that as well. The BBC will not air any comedy shows for during the 12 days of mourning for the death of the Queen, or I guess of any monarch for that matter. It's the way they do things over there, and that's the protocol, and that's fine. It seems kind of an interesting story. Chickens, and I don't know how true this is, because most eggs should be unfertilized, but there's video of chickens hatching out of an egg on a delivery truck while it is on the road. So it must have been really, really hot out. It was one of these egg trucks that delivers eggs, and there's a whole stack of them. And there's video of an egg cracking open and a chick coming out. Now, again, I always thought that unfertilized eggs were what we got at the grocery stores. Now, I don't know if maybe that's not the case, or maybe this was something else where they were delivering farm fresh eggs or something like that someplace else and they were fertilized egg. I don't know, but all I know is that there's video of a actual chick hatching from an egg on an egg truck whilst driving on the road. I guess it was hot enough and warm enough for it to incubate, I suppose. Last week we talked about swim trunks for your dog. Well, now you can buy matching robes for you and your dog. So if you want to look just like your dog, or you want your dog to look just like you can both buy robes and have the same exact robe. Let's say stripes or solid black. You can buy one for yourself and one for your dog. Okay. New York man is charged with keeping live sharks in a pool in his house. I can't even imagine, how do you get the sharks? How do you feed them? How big do they get? And how big is your pool? And in New York, for that matter. I guess maybe it's like the guy in Despicable Me who has got the giant shark in his house, but it wasn't quite the same. I guess that was a cartoon movie. This is real life. Corruption in gold mining threatens a new species that was discovered, a see-through glass frog, but because they said corruption and gold mining will threaten its territory, and this new species of frog may disappear before it even gets a chance to come out there. A family built a life-size car out of snow, and it's quite nice looking. It's a snow car, and it looks realistic for the most part. It's got windows and headlights and got door, and looks like it got door handles and stuff like that, and the wheels and stuff like that. Like, oh man, we did a really good job. This is cool. We're gonna, it'll freeze overnight, and we'll be able to keep an eye on it, take some pictures, and look at it for a while. This would be great. We can work on it until it melts, or whatever. So they go in their house, and then the next day, they discover a police officer writing a parking ticket for their snow car. Now, the police officer was unaware that the car was made out of snow. He just thought that it was a car covered in snow, and it was in a spot where it shouldn't be, parked illegally, so he wrote it a ticket, even though it wasn't a real car. I guess maybe they made a license plate as well out of snow and made some numbers up on it. But wouldn't you think that someone would, unless they were making an imitation of their car, but wouldn't you think that if they just made up a bunch of numbers and the police officer put in the system, it was like, what the heck is this? Regardless, I think that's a funny story. Man consumes nothing but beer for Lent, and he loses 15 pounds. Now, my brother-in-law, Mike, he's giving up beer for Lent. So this guy did the reverse. He's actually drinking everything. He's drinking nothing but beer. I think he's drinking, and I think that's all I think he's drinking and eating beer all during Lent, and he's already lost 15 pounds. Now, I guess, when you're not eating fats and sugars and stuff like that, you're going to lose weight. But at the same time, that's dangerous. If you don't get proper food in your body, that's dangerous. But the fact is, it's kind of interesting that a man who just drank beer and nothing else is actually losing weight instead of putting it on. It's interesting. What else we got? My friend Gary's not going to like this very much, and neither are a lot of my other friends, but apparently a study says, now again, as I pointed out with the barefoot child one about them being smarter, you can't really trust these studies, but this study says that drinking hot coffee or tea increases your chance of getting tumors in your esophagus. Now, I don't know if that's due to the, various chemicals in coffees and teas that might be considered as carcinogens. I didn't think there were really, caffeine maybe, but I didn't think there were any carcinogen type of stuff in tea or coffee. And the fact is, how would you create tumors in your esophagus by drinking coffee and tea? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me unless there were carcinogenic attributes to these drinks. But I've never heard anything about that before because it's just water mixed with either tea leaves or coffee beans. So To be continued, but apparently, drinking hot coffee or tea can cause cancer to your throat. First I heard of it. Bunch of new shoes. Shoes seem to be the new thing. Everybody likes to do theme shoes. I think last week I talked about Captain Marvel themed shoes were out and about right now. There's Game of Thrones themed shoes out and about now. Well, now we have, thanks to The Walking Dead, seems to be going through a renaissance right now with the Whisperers. The Whisperers get their own themed Puma shoes. And where's my other shoe one? Where is my other shoe one? There is another shoe story. Oh yeah, Dunkin' Donuts is actually going to have a running shoe also. A Canovian 10 sneaker, I guess is the type of running shoe that has the Dunkin' logos on it. So everybody's got themed shoes now. I guess shoes are a good common thing to do things with. I don't know. This year marks the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. So to celebrate, the U.S. Postal Service will be offering moon landing stamps for your letters and stuff like that. Two kinds. I think one is a picture of Neil Armstrong, as you see him before in his flight suit on the moon, and then a picture of the Apollo moon lander, I think, is another one. So, hey, big fan of the moon landing stuff. Go ahead and get your 50th anniversary stamps coming soon. Snapple, which has sort of was big for a while there and then sort of disappeared again. Well, this summer they're coming back with a bang. They're releasing a line of lemonades, including a black cherry lemonade that sounds really, really good, and a few other types as well. I think some of them are available now, and I might have to look into them because their lemonades were actually really, really good. There used to be a sub place down the street from where I grew up called Harry Little's, and when I was still living at home and I would want to get a sub from there, it was within walking distance, so I'd call, order a sub. So yeah, it'd be about 10 minutes. I'd walk up there and I'd grab my sub, and then they usually had a cooler stocked with soda, stuff like that. They had Snapple, and I grabbed a Snapple every time I went up there and drank it. So the fact that they have a series of lemonades coming up, I think that's great, and I can't wait to try them. Mark your calendars. August 21st, 2020 is the date that Bill and Ted 3 Face the Music will be coming out. Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves went on to Facebook and mentioned this, that they have a date. They are going to start filming it this summer, and it will be released by next summer. And it's a very, a lot of people are like, why do you need to do another Bill and Ted movie? Well, the idea, the story idea, it was just too good not to do it. Is, all the Bill and Ted movies are different, and this one is no different. Remember from the first one, they were told that they were going to be the one that George Carlin told them they were going to be the ones to bring about unity to the universe with their music, with this one song, their band, whatever. So now we fast forward to them as being grown-ups, and they haven't written a song yet. So I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great idea. Plus, I think they have to deal with their own kids as well. So I'm looking forward to that. So next year, August 21st, 2020, new Bill and Ted will be out. Hopefully, we'll be talking about that in my 300th and some episode of this show. A couple of sex stories here. Cam Newton, quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, has a unique way of becoming a better quarterback. He thinks if he gives up sex for 1 month, he'll be a better quarterback. Okay. What? 1 month? Is it any specific month? Is it the month before camp starts? A month before the season starts? Is it during the season? Is it now? Only 1 month without sex will make you a better quarterback? It doesn't make any sense to me. Also, smoking, study says, smoking can reduce the size of your erection. So if you're a smoker, your erection is not going to be quite as strong, and it's actually going to be a lot less erect, and your partner's going to be like, what the hell is that? You need to stop smoking. I mentioned this at the beginning of the show. I have about 3 stories that I'll say, so I'm going to be jumping all over the place for this. Companies and people are offering you lots of money to do things for them. And some of them are actually kind of intriguing. A cable company will pay you $1,000 to watch every Marvel Cinematic Universe movie back to back and then tweet about it. I could do that. For $1,000, hell yeah, I would do that in a second. Sign me up. I would love to do that. Real quick before I get to the other ones, Avengers Endgame is coming up in about 1 month, actually, almost literally about a month away. And AMC, local movie chain here, and I guess all over the place, is toying with the idea of running a 22 movie marathon, to run all MCU movies back to back, all 22 of them back to back, culminating in Endgame. Now, when Avengers came out way back in 2012, they did something similar where they did all the movies that led up to the Avengers, and I actually went to that at White Marsh. They did Iron Man, the Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, and then led right into the Avengers. That was 6 movies. This is 22. Each movie about 2 to 2.5 hours each. You're looking at 44 to 50 hours straight of movies. That's over 2 straight days of nothing but the MCU movies. I would do that in a second. Not going to happen, though, for me, unfortunately. But hey, how much would you charge for that? I mean, if movies cost, say, roughly about, they cost like $15 now. But let's make it easier. Let's make it $10. 22 movies, that's at least $220 just for that. Now, you can make we'll give you a break and make it $200 to watch 22 movies. That's still a lot of money, but still, it's a neat idea. It doesn't seem feasible, though. That's over 2 days straight. All right, what else was there? Okay, I finished this page, so it'll be on the other page. Okay. I know there's a... Okay, here we go. The federal government will pay you $1,000. There's $1,000 again to adopt a wild horse. I don't know if you have to take care of it, but to adopt it, I guess maybe you would have to go and take care of it. I don't know. But they would give you $1,000 to adopt a wild horse. I don't quite understand that either. But okay, whatever. Good on that. And where's the other one? There we go. And a family is offering $53,000 a year. That's more than I make. $53,000 a year for a nanny to dress like a Disney princess every day for their child. So not only would you have to be a nanny, but you would have to be dressed as a Disney princess. For $53K, I think I could handle that. I'd like to try. Japan taps Toyota for a moon rover, which is kind of cool. That they are creating this rover that would, ride all over the moon. So I guess they would either make it robotic, or maybe they would try to land somebody in there to drive it around on the moon and move around on itself. That's pretty cool. So that's to be continued. Queen Elizabeth I, the first Queen Elizabeth, not the one that's the monarch now, was slowly poisoned by her makeup, which they discovered recently doing some tests on her makeup, that she was being poisoned by the makeup she was putting on. I guess some sort of chemical in it was causing issues to happen. It was a slight poisoning because she didn't die from that type of poisoning, but still the fact that the makeup that she put on was killing her, there's something fascinating, I guess, about that. Interesting, maybe. Surf musician Dick Dale passed away this week. You would best remember his stuff from, I talked about Quentin Tarantino earlier, the opening song for Pulp Fiction, Miseraloo, is his big hit. But yeah, he was a surf musician, which is the really, I tell you what, let me see if I can dig up. I didn't want to play Miseraloo because I like surf a little bit, but I just don't like this surf music for whatever. Where are you? Dick Dale. Here we go. Dick Dale. There we go. This is guitar music.
How do we tell people they get the best of both worlds?
Ads. So he passed away this week. And it's sad, but you know, he was old though. I don't think he was a youngin'. Everybody knows that song. That's surf music for the most part. It was a huge deal in the 1960s. He was one of the masters of it, and he passed away this week. Last week I talked about how scientists have decided that they would probably be able to recreate dinosaurs in 5 years, and all the Jurassic Park jokes that came out, and Jeff Goldblum tweeting out, "I don't think you should," doing his line from Jurassic Park. Well, scientists on their way to that point actually briefly restarted a woolly mammoth cell. So for a very brief amount of time, some woolly mammoth cells that they were putting tests on, were briefly brought back to life. So obviously they've got something working for them. I'm not exactly sure, but they got something. Slippers are a big thing also. I talked about shoes, but slippers, I talked about a lot of different types of slippers all season long. Well, now there's new slippers that will protect your feet from the pain you get from stepping on Legos. It's got some sort of mesh thing on the bottom that will cushion your foot more than, say, socks or slippers or shoes would. So you can just walk around these slippers, and if you step on something by accident, you won't hurt yourself. This is just in time for summer. Amazon will be selling a mitt, something you put on your hand, that will help you remove sand from yourself. You know, you go to the beach, okay, and you're in the water. You're playing around, you're splashing around, and then you walk back on the beach, and the sand grabs onto your feet because of the wetness, and it becomes sort of like a muddy sort of mess in there. And then you keep it on there because you try to knock it off, but you're going to be walking around the beach anyway for a while. And then when you eventually decide it's time to go back to your house, you're going to be walking across sand anyway some more. So you walk across the sand, and then you get back to your beach house. A lot of times people then go directly to the outdoor showers where you spray your feet off, stuff like that. Or sometimes they go directly to the outdoor showers, strip down, and take a shower there and clean off all the sand that way. Well, now, if you don't want to do any of that, there's a special mitt now that'll be able to, you just wipe off the sand without having to rinse off your feet. And yeah, it could be pretty good, pretty interesting way to get the grains of sand off of you. So that's pretty interesting. This is ridiculous, and it's just for the name, really. And this also goes to the fact that if you go to a Target or a Walmart or any place right now, they have displays of jeans or pants that have holes in them. Now, normally, having holes in your pants is considered bad. It's bad. It's bad. I mean, I have a hole down here by my butt on one of my pairs of pants. Everybody mentions the hole in my butt. But if I had any on my knees, they wouldn't care, because it's the fashion now to have jeans with holes in them. And you can charge a lot of money for holey jeans. Well, now Gucci has decided they're going to one-up that a little bit. They're going to sell shoes, sneakers, that look dirty for $900. $900 for a simple pair of shoes that look dirty. Not gold encrusted, not silver encrusted, not silk shoelaces, not soft, specialized type of shoe leather. No. Regular shoe that looks like it has scuff marks and black marks and dark marks for $900. Stupid Gucci. And people are probably going to buy it too. Let's do some fast food restaurant stories. We got two, one from McDonald's, one from Burger King. Man sues McDonald's because he still feels depressed even after eating a Happy Meal. I'm not making fun of depression. Depression is a serious problem, and people suffer with it, and big time. But someone who believes they can cure their depression with something called a Happy Meal, no, it doesn't work that way. Happy Meal is just the name. It's not a drug that's going to boost your happiness quotient. What makes it a Happy Meal is you get a little present inside. Now, if you're a grown-up, it's not for you. It's really for kids, because kids like to get cheap crap like that. But again, not trying to make fun of people who have depression, but really, you thought a Happy Meal was going to make you feel better. It doesn't make any sense. Burger King. Woman goes on a rampage at a Burger King because her burger had tomatoes on it. Really, people? Really? Why are we doing this? Why is this happening? And I don't know. Sorry, I heard a thump upstairs. Either my son has to go to the bathroom or he was switching over or whatever. Just weird. I don't know. I'm at a loss. Jelly Belly is going to be releasing very soon cannabis-infused jelly beans. Why not? Cannabis is the big thing now. Everybody likes cannabis. Why not release jelly beans that have cannabis in it? Why not? I had no problem with that. How about this for something? Knife massage. People will do anything for a massage. They will try all kinds of different things. A couple weeks ago, I talked to you about a snake massage. Well, this is a knife massage where you are on your stomach or whatever, and you're your back, and people are whacking knives on your back. I'm assuming they're sharp. They look like butcher knives to me. It's like people lighting your hair on fire to cut it. A while back, College Humor, which is a website on YouTube, or not a website, it's a channel on YouTube that does a lot of funny videos and stuff like that. They did a video of a live action Dora the Explorer movie, and it was funny. It was really, really funny. It came out at the time where my kids were watching Dora the Explorer incessantly when they were younger. Fast forward to 2019, some film producer, probably looking for the next big thing, probably saw this ad and said, you know what, we should do a live action Dora the Explorer movie, and not as a joke. So a live action Dora the Explorer movie is coming. Trailer should be out now. I think I'll have to check and see that the trailer is out. I knew there was a poster that came out. The trailer came out. Well, the other news is that Danny Trejo will be doing the voice of Boots the Monkey, which I think is funny. But to be continued. Cowboy singer Justin Carter died in an accidental shooting on the set of his video. Now, there's been a lot of accidental deaths on video shootings recently for musicians. There was a rapper who died skydiving while rapping, for making a rap video. And now Justin Carter dies in an accidental shooting on the set of his video. It's similar to, I guess, how Brandon Lee passed away in The Crow. That was a terrible accident. Shouldn't have happened, but it did. And I think something similar happened to Justin Carter here. Just in time for Easter, we have Bunny Fart Cotton Candy. It's cotton candy with the name Bunny Fart. and I guess a fluffy pink candy could be considered as a bunny fart or unicorn fart for that matter, if you want to do that as well. Um, I don't know. Speaking of unicorns, where are you? I can't find it right now, but Kroger's, which is a grocery store I've really never heard of before, they are offering a unicorn ice cream. There it is, cotton candy unicorn swirl ice cream at Kroger's. So again, cotton candy is involved in there somehow. This time it's about unicorns and not bunny farts. Again, another good name for the episode could have been Knife Massage or Bunny Farts or DeForest Kelly Face. Kenya has finally announced that if they catch poachers poaching animals on their preserves and stuff like that, they will seek the death penalty. Someone's walking around upstairs. Oh, well. I think that's a good thing. You know, poaching is not good, particularly animals in a preserve. People jumping in there and trying to kill animals that way because it makes them feel like they're big men, big women is terrible and disastrous. And this is a step in the right direction. So good on you, Kenya. Someone created water you can eat that will help the elderly stay hydrated. Now, I don't understand this. Do the elderly not like to drink water from glasses? Liquid water, maybe their bodies can't process the liquid water now, but in order for them to get water, someone actually created solid water for them to eat. That's a pretty good idea. Proof that dogs are man's best friend. Look, I'm a cat person. I always will be a cat person, but a dog realized that his owner's foot wasn't feeling good. It had noticed the neighbor walking around in like a cast walking boot type of thing. So the dog happened to notice it on his neighbor's porch, ran over and stole this walking boot cast for his owner who hurt his foot as well. So dogs care about you. They would go to resort to stealing if they needed to. Lobster claws are nice and all that. They're good. They got lots of good meat in it. You dip it in some lemon and you're great. But do you actually need a 3-pound lobster claw? These 3-pound lobster claws that are now available at Costco look like some sort of giant crustacean that is coming to destroy us all. These claws are huge. I'm sure it's got lots of meat in it, but I just can't imagine where the lobster is what the lobster that this claw came from, what he actually would look like. And it kind of freaks me out. Study says that women start turning into their mothers at the age of 33. I'm not exactly sure what that means. Is that your attitude towards things, or you start acting more and more like your mother? I mean, you always hear the jokes that, oh my God, I'm starting to turn into my mother type of thing because they do something that their mother used to do for them. But a study says age of 33 now is when you're going to start turning into your mother. So when you hit 33, you're going to start turning into your mother. Just a warning. That just goes for women. Peo the horse is your typical horse. It likes to run and tromp and race and stuff like that. But it also does something else that's really, really nice. Twice a week, Peo's owners take Peo to hospitals and nursing homes and lets the elderly and infirm people touch them and pet the horse and encounter the horse and hug the horse, and the horse is all perfect on that. It's great that animals can help people in any way, and any animal can do this. I mean, I talked about a few weeks ago about people who have these crocodiles that help them feel good about themselves and help them feel and give love to these crocodiles, and the crocodiles give it right back to them. It warms my heart that that kind of stuff happens. Days before the last bald eagle count of the season at the Big Bear park or something like that out in California. So I guess they do a check, like a check on all the uh, of how many eagles are actually in there to keep an idea of how many are coming back and if they're still in danger and stuff like that. Last day, right before they were finishing up their count, a counter discovered that there was a wintering eagle that was just there for the season had laid an egg. So it's another eagle is going to be entering the world really soon, which is really good because that means eagles are starting to come back. Very good. Heated folding chairs is a new thing. You know, if you are a sports parent and you hate going out in the cold, like today, my boss, Jack, his son's baseball started today. It was kind of a chilly day today. He's a manager, but his wife isn't. If his wife wanted to stay warm, why don't you buy heated folding chairs? Folding chairs that are heated now, which makes a lot of sense. You think about it. You sit in a heated chair, it'll keep you nice and warm when you're out in the cold. Same thing with, they also have those things with, they have those little tents that you can make, clear tents that you can do as well, that protect you from the weather as well. But it's pretty cool that they have heated folding chairs now. It's not a bad idea. Board games are big. Everything's getting a board game, and now the movie Die Hard is getting a board game. He didn't say much about it, but it just seems like an interesting idea. Maybe it's like the board game is all the different levels of Nakatomi Plaza, and you've got to outwit the Hans Gruber and the rest of the terrorists and stop them and save the day. That might be kind of cool. So check that out when that comes out. Die Hard is getting a board game. The FDA has approved the first postpartum drug. Now, postpartum is not fake. I remember when Noelle was born, there was one day that that only I saw. It was only one day where Dawn was hugely depressed. She was crying, upset, not herself, and this was days after Noelle was born. And women's bodies go through this. It's not something that's fake. You've just given birth to a living human being. You've suffered a lot of pain and discomfort. You've had 9 months of, like, not really pain, discomfort, but discomfort maybe. And then you've just given birth to a baby and you're worn out, you're tired, you don't feel attractive because you still feel like you still have some of the baby weight on, and you still feel yucky, and you still are hurting, and the baby keeps crying, and you got to keep pumping, and you got to keep feeding, and it's keeping you up at night. So it's a serious thing. And so she was for one day, I remember her being very depressed, but she snapped out of it kind of quickly and she was okay. I didn't see her postpartum with Noah, but she told me she had it because Noah, when he was born, he had a little bit discolored skin, and he needed to go into the electric tent, the light tent, for a few days to get his skin color back to normal. So Dawn stayed with him in the children's hospital. So she had the bed, and so that way she could feed him and pump him and love him and stuff like that. But he spent most of his time in this tent, and so I was still taking care of Noelle, working, picking up Noelle, getting her to bed, getting her her bath, getting her dinner, because Dawn had to stay at the hospital with Noah till they were ready to move. So we would visit them every day, check in on them, and she told me she had her postpartum there. So it is a big thing. The fact that there's now a drug that can maybe help decrease the experience is actually really good, and hopefully it'll become a thing, because postpartum can be hard for a lot of people. It can be harder for a lot of people. For Dawn, she lucked out, only had it for a day or so for each of our kids. There's some people who have it for weeks, and it's just really, really hard to get around it. It's a type of depression, and depression is not something easy to take care of. I don't understand this. It's got to be because of the stupid administration we have down in Washington, but people are becoming increasingly skeptical of science. Our report finds science is not skeptical. Science is real. What more do you need proof that science is real? It's uneducated idiots who just learn from these morons down in Washington and the moronic channel they watch, the uneducated buffoons who don't understand jack shit about anything. Science is real. Get your head around it. Morons. I can't believe that. Just in time for summer, I've been talking about all kinds of pool floats and stuff like that. Now there's a sloth pool float for your enjoyment and a rainbow tunnel sprinkler where kids can run through a tunnel that looks like a rainbow and get hit with water. So more great summer stuff for fun. I keep finding new stuff every week, and I will keep bringing it up. Trainer with autism creates a gym whose clientele has autism, which is great. So people who have autism now have a place where they can work out and be themselves and not have to deal with moronic people who don't understand what autism is because they don't believe in science. They can do their own thing and make their own friends and do things at their own leisure, not worry about what other people, and just let them focus on themselves. So that's good on that. Ghosts. Ghostly horse sounds have been discovered at McPike Mansion in Alton. I don't exactly know where that is, but you always hear about these, ghost, adventures and ghost hunter type of shows, and they always are hearing people talking and voices, and they have them recorded and stuff like that. Well, now you have some of your first ever recording of animal ghost noises, which is quite fascinating, actually, if you think about it. A ghost noise of an animal. It's kind of interesting. You don't really expect that. You don't expect animals to be ghosts. And I do because, as I've said before, we have a ghost cat that lives in our house. I haven't seen ghost cat in a while, but I can feel its presence every once in a while. But we've never heard it meow or anything like that. This is actually someone heard horse noises of a ghost horse. So it's interesting. Mysterious ships described by Herodotus have been discovered after 2,500 years. Herodotus wrote about these mysterious ships that he spotted on the sea 2,500 years ago, and no one ever believed him. They thought they was made up. Well, someone discovered some sunk at the bottom of the water, so we know that they exist. So, hey, science again for the win discovers these ships that everyone claimed, they didn't know what it was, but and it might not have existed. Well, guess what? They existed, and they were built using science and architecture and engineering. Not architecture, engineering. My friend Gary sent me this. A school stumbles upon blackboards that were unerased from 1917 while they were doing a renovation of a school. So these chalkboards had actual 1917, teachers from 1917 drawing pictures and writing what the kids needed to study, stuff like that, up on the board, had never been erased. And so they get an idea of what students were taught back in 1917. Now, 1917 is a big date also because a farmer in Michigan discovered a Canadian lynx in his backyard. A Canadian lynx had not been seen in Michigan since 1917. So, kind of interesting stories about that. Speaking of ghosts, the Playboy Mansion is apparently haunted by the ghost of a female. Many ex-playmates have said that they had experienced sightings or heard sounds at the Playboy Mansion. So, hey, Zach, why don't you take your Ghost Adventures crew up to the Playboy Mansion now and do one of your research shows there? I bet you're going to. And it would probably be pretty cool to watch. 15,000 Lucky Charms marshmallow-only cereals are out. But the only way you can get it is by filling out a form or whatever. I'm not exactly sure where the lineup is, but it's coming out again. It had been out before long ago, but now it is out again, but only 15,000 boxes were made. And they're not going to be available at stores. You're going to have to sign up and get them yourself, but it is marshmallows only, no oat clusters. That's just kind of weird. It's too sweet, too. Speaking of sweet, IKEA, known for their weird furniture and hard to do, and the jokes about putting their furniture together, how hard it is. They're selling milk chocolate bunnies that you have to assemble. Yes, it's not your typical chocolate bunny. You have to assemble it yourself using the IKEA directions to create a milk chocolate bunny that you can then eat. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Swedish people. Skittles, one of my favorite candies. They now have an ice cream bar out now that is covered in strawberry sorbet. So I don't know if they have Skittles in it. I don't think so, because I don't think frozen Skittles are actually very good. But hey, there's a Skittles branded ice cream out there now, and it looks yummy. After 42 years, the Spider-Man newspaper cartoon strip will be ending. My newspaper never really did the Spider-Man cartoon, but I think the Washington Post did. Stan Lee wrote it, and then with his passing, they have just decided that they are going to not do it anymore. I mean, to be honest, cartoons are kind of a dying breed, and they no longer, maybe the interest isn't there so much for like adventure cartoons anymore. But after 42 years, the Spider-Man newspaper strip will be coming to an end. In local news, a Maryland shoemaker has become the top cobbler after winning an international competition. So congratulations to you, Mr. Top Cobbler. What in the world is this? I don't know what that is. Okay. Jack the Ripper possibly unmasked. A new DNA study discovered that Aaron Kosminski, who was a prime suspect by Abilene, who was the guy who was investigating it by Scotland Yard, and by a number of other people, they postulated this guy was going to be it. He was a barber. He knew how to use his knife and stuff like that. And he was a prime suspect, and for whatever reason, they could never make anything stick on him. Well, now they found a DNA strand on one of the pieces of a shawl that was found near one of the dead bodies that Jack the Ripper created that had semen stains on it, that they matched the DNA to Kosminski's line. And it makes sense, because if he was the prime suspect, most people thought that he was the killer. And now this basically proves it. Now, we don't know how true the science is on that, or if it's just speculation, but the possibility that Jack the Ripper might finally have been unmasked and it's someone that everyone thought it was is kind of interesting. I have no idea what that says. Merrick being sued, escapes detention, blows up with family 10, attack burbs. I don't know what that says. I'm just going to leave that there. I don't know what the hell I was writing there. This weekend is C2E2, the Chicago, basically like Chicago Comic-Con, but it's no longer just about comics. It's about, like San Diego has become like a pop culture thing. Well, C2E2 is this week. So lots of artists and writers are rolling through the airport to go to C2E2. And one artist by the name of Joyce Chin made the news this week because her and Gail Simone will be doing a Vampirella story in Playboy. It'll be serialized in Playboy. And it's kind of interesting news that, Joyce Chin's done other stuff as well in the comic world, that two famous comic book people are doing a serialized story in Playboy. Well, unfortunately, Joyce Chin was admitted to a Chicago hospital after suffering an aneurysm in the Chicago airport before C2E2. Also, when she collapsed, she hurt her knee, so she's now been hospitalized, not only for the aneurysm, but for hurting her knee. Her husband is artist Arthur Adams, who is a huge big art guy in the 1980s. I did not even know he was married to Joyce Chin, but he is, and he has joined her at the hospital, and both of them were scheduled to be at C2E2. They, of course, have said we're not going to be there, obviously, but their assistant is still selling their artwork at their table. So you won't be able to get them to sign anything for you, but if you want to buy any of their art, go ahead and go for it, and send your thoughts and prayers to Joyce that she recovers very quickly. The Taskmaster, who is a great villain in the Marvel Universe, appears to be tapped to be the main villain in the Black Widow movie, and I think that would be the absolute perfect villain for Black Widow. I think that's a great story idea, and I can't wait to see how they create that. A new invention, instead of a lander on Mars, NASA is toying with the idea of a Mars helicopter, which will be able to fly over the Martian surface and cover more ground than a rover can. So I think that's a fascinating idea. If they can actually get some aerial views of Mars from a helicopter and you can get much more ground covered, I think that's a really great idea. So more onto that. It's been a few weeks, and I was hoping that we wouldn't have to do this again, but the final story for today is humans having sex with animals again. This time, an Arizona man was caught having sex with his cat in his shower, and he was charged with bestiality. Now, this is the first time I've ever... Now, obviously, when I've told the stories before, they get charged stuff like that, but they've never mentioned what the charge was. Bestiality, apparently, is the charge, and I don't know if that's jail time or a fine or whatever, but dude was having sex with a cat in the shower. Manager being sued, escapes drunken, blows up with family of 10 attack burps. I don't know what that is. So I'm not going to do that one. So that one is going to have to just disappear. So that's it for regular stories. Anniversaries this week. The Greatest American Hero, the TV show, came out in 1981. My wife, Dawn, loves that show. Police Academy has its 35th anniversary. Blade 2 came out in 2002. I have no idea what that says. Porky's came out 37 years ago this week. Naked Gun 33 1/3 came out in 1994. Final Destination came out in the 1990s as well. This week, Pretty Woman came out 29 years ago. And I have no idea what this is, and I have no idea what this is, so I'm just going to cross those off. And that's it for this week's stuff here. Check iDay stuff real quick. Whoops, wrong bit here. Twitter. Check iDay. Today, March 23rd, is Cuddly Kitten Day, National Chia Day, National Chip and Dip Day, National Melba Toast Day, National Puppy Day, Near Miss Day, OK Day, World Meteorological Day. March 22nd was As Young as You Feel Day, National Bavarian Crepes Day, National Goof Off Day, National Sing Out Day, World Water Day. March 21st was Absolutely Incredible Kid Day, Companies That Care Day, International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, International Day of Forests, Memory Day, National California Strawberry Day, National Common Courtesy Day, National Countdown Day, National Day of Action on Syringe Exchange, National Flower Day, this is all March 21st, National Fragrance Day, National French Bread Day, National Single Parents Day, National Teenager Day, National Oranges and Lemons Day, Purim, World Down Syndrome Day, World Poetry Day, World Puppetry Day. March 20th was Alien Abduction Day and Atheist Pride Day, Bibliomania Day, French Language Day, Great American Meat Out Day, International Astrology Day, International Day of Happiness, International Day of Nowruz, International Earth Day, Kick Butts Day, National Bach Beer Day, National Jump Out Day, National Kiss Your Fiancé Day, National Native HIV AIDS Awareness Day, National Ravioli Day. These are all March 20th. Ostara Proposal Day, Snowman Burning Day, First Day of Spring, Won't You Be My Neighbor Day, World Day of Theater for Children and Young People, World Sparrow Day, World Storytelling Day. Now the 24th, which is tomorrow, is International Day for Achievers, National Chocolate Covered Raisins Day, National Cocktail Day, World Tuberculosis Day, Cuddly Kitten Day, National oh no, sorry, that's the 23rd, and that's it. So that's it for that. So that's it for this week. I am going to be back next week, so that'll be cool. Stay tuned for a new episode of the Comic Hall, but I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick, and then I'll come back down and do that. Mayor being sued, escapes detection, blows up with force of 10. Oh, I know what this is now. Real quick. A meteorite that escaped being detected by Earth and NASA and everybody actually flew over the Bering Strait and blew up with the power of 10 atomic bombs. I got that one. Yay. That's kind of scary because normally we're pretty good about, catching when meteorites and asteroids are going to hit us. This one we missed completely. And the power of 10 atomic bombs that's a lot of atomic bombs. And the fact that it escaped detection, if it would have crashed on Earth, that could have been disastrous. So that's Dylanknows. Disastrous. End on a disastrous note about meteorites hitting the Earth and destroying us for all time. Hopefully it doesn't happen. Good night.